President Trump's inaugural speech was a declaration of war against the ruling elite in America, according to American economist Paul Craig Roberts. Trump's speech made it clear that the American people have been screwed over by globalists, neoliberal economists, and neoconservatives who have dragged us into wars around the world in order to benefit the ruling establishment. If truth can be said, President Trump has declared a war far more dangerous to himself than if he had declared war against Russia or China. The interest groups designated by Trump as the enemy are well entrenched and accustomed to being in charge. Their powerful networks are still in place. Although there are Republican majorities in the House and Senate, most of those in Congress are answerable to the ruling interest groups that provide their campaign funds and not to the American people or to the president. The military/security complex, offshoring corporations, Wall Street, and the banks are not going to roll over for Trump. And neither is the prostitute media, which is owned by the interest groups whose power Trump challenges. Trump made it clear that he stands for every American, black, brown, and white. Little doubt his declaration of inclusiveness will be ignored by the haters on the left who will continue to call him a racist just as the $50 per hour paid protesters are doing as I write. Indeed, black leadership, for example, is enculturated into the victimization role from which it would be hard for them to escape. How do you pull together people who all their lives have been taught that whites are racists and that they are the victims of racists? Can it be done? I was just on a program briefly with Press TV in which we were supposed to provide analysis of Trump's inaugural speech. The other commentator was a black American in Washington, D.C. Trump's inclusiveness speech made no impression on him, and the show host was only interested in showing the hired protesters as a way of discrediting America. So many people have an economic interest in speaking in behalf of victims that inclusiveness puts them out of jobs and causes. So along with the globalists, the CIA, the offshoring corporations, the armaments industries, the NATO establishment in Europe, and foreign politicians accustomed to being well paid for supporting Washington's interventionist foreign policy, Trump will have arrayed against him the leaders of the victimized peoples, the blacks, the Hispanics, the feminists, the illegals, the homosexuals, and transgendered. This long list, of course, includes the white liberals as well, as they are convinced that flyover America is the habitat of white racists, misogynists, homophobes, and gun nuts. As far as they are concerned, this 84% of geographical U.S. should be quarantined or interred. In other words, does enough goodwill remain in the population to enable a president to unite the 16% America haters with the 84% America lovers? Consider the forces that Trump has against him. Black and Hispanic leaders need victimization, because it is what elevates them to power and income. They will turn a jaundiced eye toward Trump's inclusiveness. Inclusiveness is good for blacks and Hispanics, but not for their leaders. The executives and shareholders of global corporations are enriched by the offshore jobs that Trump says he will bring home. If the jobs come home, their profits, performance bonuses, and capital gains will go away. But the economic security of the American population will return. The military/security complex has a $1,000 billion annual budget dependent on the Russian threat that Trump says he is going to replace with normalized relations. Trump's assassination cannot be ruled out. Many Europeans owe their prestige, power, and incomes to the NATO that Trump has called into question. The financial sector's profits almost entirely flow from putting Americans into debt bondage and from looting their private and public pensions. The financial sector with their agent, the Federal Reserve, can overwhelm Trump with financial crisis. The New York Federal Reserve Bank has a complete trading desk. It can send any market into turmoil, or support any market, because there is no limit on its ability to create US dollars. The entire political edifice in the US has insulated itself from the will, desires, and needs of the people. Now Trump says the politicians will be accountable to the people. This, of course, would mean a big drop in their security in office and in their income and wealth. There are a large number of groups, funded by we know not who. For example, Roots Action has responded today to Trump's forceful commitment to stand for all of the people against the ruling establishment with a request to ask Congress to direct the House Judiciary Committee to open an impeachment investigation and to send money for Trump's impeachment. Another hate group, Human Rights First, attacks Trump's defense of our borders as closing a refuge of hope for those fleeing persecution. Think about this for a minute. According to the liberal progressive left and the racial interest group organizations, the US is a racist society and President Trump is a racist. Yet, people subject to American racism are fleeing from persecution to America where they will be racially persecuted? It doesn't make sense. The illegals come here for work. Ask the construction companies. Ask the chicken and animal slaughterhouses. Ask the vacation area cleaning services. This list of those on whom Trump has declared war is long enough, although there are more that can be added. We should ask ourselves why a 70-year-old billionaire with flourishing businesses, a beautiful wife, and intelligent children is willing to give his final years to the extraordinary stress of being president with the stressful agenda of putting the government back in the hands of the American people. There is no doubt that Trump has made himself a target of assassination. The CIA is not going to give up and go away. Why would a person take on the grand restoration of America that Trump has declared when he could instead spend his remaining years enjoying himself immensely? Whatever the reason, we should be grateful for it, and if he is sincere we must support him. If he is assassinated, we need to take up our weapons, burn Langley to the ground and kill every one of them. If he succeeds, he deserves the designation, Trump the Great. Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, and any other country on the CIA's hit list should understand that Trump's rise is insufficient protection. The CIA is a worldwide organization. Its profitable businesses provide income independent of the US budget. The organization is capable of undertaking operations independently of the president or even of its own director. The CIA has had about 70 years to entrench itself. It has not gone away.